I'd say one of the
D-
biggest brown pants moments was the Conjuring house for
no
me.
doubt.
I ended up going in there and tracking where the library is and that main living room area. We had this figure walk in front of the
I didn't get a
alarm
chance to go
system
with him,
on
by the
foot.
way.
I had
I
an
was so
alarm
mad,
system there
so upset.
where the door meets up in between the living room and the library. We
Mhm.
watched this phone get picked up, thrown 10 foot, and then all of a sudden my alarm on the doorknob goes off, and this figure is standing there, blue, lit up, and then dissipates. And I walk towards where they keep the Annabelle doll that they have in that living room area, and the whole house is shaking. Now, this is a January
What?
and when it's snowing outside, but the whole entire house was boom, 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 and enough to rumble the entire
Wow.
place.
In the paranormal war room, the legends arise. We're diving deep down where the truth never lies. Diving deep down where the truth never lies. Unravel the mysteries, let the stories unfold. This beat, these tales are daring and bold.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Paranormal War Room. I'm your host Corky, and tonight I am joined by Emilio and Stokes from Stokes Paranormal Investigation and Research. Is that right?
That's
Did I,
it.
s- did I say that right? And you
Yeah,
guys
Yep.
also have a YouTube channel. What's that called?
that's Ghost Division Files.
Ghost Division Files. Awesome. Well, yeah, man. Just introduce yourselves and just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started tonight.
All right. Yeah, man. Stokes with Stokes Paranormal Investigations Research. I've been working at this for about 25 years now, and I built the team, being able to take care of 50 people across the state of South Carolina as well as North Carolina and Georgia, part of an international group that is the Warren Foundation, and I've been helping out with a whole bunch of cases with that. And um, I also take care of exorcists, helping to assist them
Really?
and making sure that that everything gets checked off the list for them, assessments and assessments.
Awesome. Awesome. What about you, Emilio?
I'm pretty much like the producer, cameraman, the whole nine yards with the YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I pretty much do you know, all his like Facebook media stuff.
Right.
And I also go in there like when I'm following around the cameras, I go back to the studio and we go back and we look through the evidence. And
Hmm.
I'm the main man who does that and listens for like EVPs or looking for any kind of abnormalities, anything like that.
Awesome. Well, you know how we do it on this show, man. What my audience likes to hear is those experiences you guys have had when you're out in the field, putting in the work, doing those investigations late at night and stuff like that.
Call
So
those brown pants moments.
got that right. Yeah, I don't know what I'd call them, probably about the same thing. But what got you guys into this, man? Something had to get you started. What happened? What got you interested
Man,
in
you want to
this?
tell them how we met, Stokes?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. You go ahead with that.
Oh, man, so how we even met, man? My girlfriend at the time took me to a haunted bed and breakfast.
Nice.
Um, and she thought it'd be
Meriden
super
Inn.
cool. Yep, the Meriden Inn. I almost forgot the name of it. And yeah, we went out there and they were having like they were holding this paranormal investigation with this husband and wife. What was their names? Man?
It was
Remember?
Toby.
Right. Toby.
Yeah,
Toby was
from Rhode
cool, man.
Island. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good. They served us like this really nice little dinner before we got started. It was like this kind of like Southern style home, but the front porch was kind of like falling apart when you first walked up.
It's an old
Um,
plantation home, about 250 years old.
Oh,
yeah,
nice, nice.
yeah. Stokes all about that. And we went in there and we ate, sat down, and then we did our little investigation. It was showing us how to use the devices and tools and all the gadgets and gizmos and stuff like that, like the K2 meter, and he had his own little ghost box there, and all the things they usually bring, and they had enough for everybody to use. It was about like how many groups was there? There was like 4 or 5 groups of us.
I think there was about 5.
Yeah. And everybody had their own room and whatnot. And I just remember, like going upstairs, I was getting already the hints of like smelling like perfume randomly or cigar smoke. And, after we got done with the first part of the investigation, I walk outside and, see Stokes and his wife out there chilling. And I introduced myself, what's going on, man? Everybody looks like they're going to bed super early. And Stokes is like, well, I'm not sleepy. I was like, I'm not either. It was like, "You wanna keep going?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's late at night now. Like, it's like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, now's the time to do it."
Now's the time to get rocking. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. So first time me and him meeting, man, we just walked around the whole property talking and looking around, doing shit, trying to find any kind of evidence, even did our own little investigation.
It was
Yeah, it was
fun, man. That was a good time, man. But,
No doubt.
yeah, been dealing with paranormal my whole life, man. I was born and raised into a situation where, my grandmother was talking to spirits, and, I think about the age of 8 years old was when I found out that that place was having some issues. I started getting narked on by them, and she told me that, everything that I was doing around the house away from her and couldn't get away with doing anything as a kid without getting told on, and, things progressed a little bit worse. I think I was probably about 13, 14 years old or so, and, I had gotten a phone call because I lived 8 doors down from her on the same
Right.
street. I gotten a phone call from her neighbor, and, she was extremely pissed and screaming at the top of her lungs pretty early morning, and, whenever I went down there, she was swinging a baseball bat at the crawl space,
Good
talking about,
Lord.
"Come on, I got you, come on, I'm
mm,
ready." I'm like, "Oh, no. Grandma, what's going on, man?" She was saying that something tried to attack her when she was in the bathroom, and, that she wanted to try to handle that. I said, "Well, I'll go into the crawl space and see what's in there. You be ready with the baseball bat outside, okay?" She's like, "Yeah, let's do that." So I go in the crawl space and, I mean, my grandmother and grandfather had built that place, and, he was a very smart man whenever he put together the flooring system. Everything was pretty secured with a, spotlight about every 10 foot around the inside of it. You wasn't going in there without, being able to see everything in there, but, so I went about 2 and a half rooms in towards that bathroom, and something, even though I didn't see nothing, something had screamed right in my ear. It was, like, right beside me, and it screamed, "Get out," and, it was a raspy, nasty voice, and, I went out from the crawl space throwing my hands up like, "Well, I didn't see nothing. I don't know what's going on, grandma." It was enough to be able to just at least try to chill her out and get
Right.
her back in the house. And as I'm walking through this little middle corridor of the house itself to go back towards the front and walking out, going back towards my house, as I'm saying I didn't see nothing, all of a sudden all the radios in her house turned on at the same time.
Wow.
And she was a Christian woman, born and raised very, very Christian, Episcopal. And so whenever that happened, she was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. You go ahead and go. I got this." I'm like, "Okay."
Mm,
So that's the way I was raised up. I mean, there was all kinds of experiences. She was getting picked up and thrown a little bit,
wow.
and up to her last days, we were having to deal with some things on it. But I'd say after I grew up, right around the age of 21, 22 years old, I was doing foundation repair,
Mhm.
and I was out at Lancaster County over here in South Carolina. I was working at an old folks' home and staying in a hotel out there, and we had gone to a restaurant called the Alligator Grill, where you, end up getting the 32-ounce sirloin, baked potato, and a salad, and if you killed it in less than an
Dang.
hour, it was free.
Oh, dang.
So, I was digging 10-foot holes for a living, lifting 200 pounds of steel every day. I was hungry, and, I was going for that little deal. So I killed it, and I got that deal and went back towards the hotel, laid down in the bed, and I'd say probably close to about 2 to 3 in the morning. all of a sudden I woke up to the covers of the bed in the hotel room coming up from chest level, and went and grabbed a hold of my mouth and wrapped around trying to suffocate around my throat and my mouth area. All of a sudden, I didn't know what the hell was happening, and I threw some wild punches. I look up and I'm seeing this really tall, dark shadow figure over me, and it was just me and this thing sitting in the dang hotel room, and all of a sudden it like disappeared
Mhm.
as I'm throwing punches at it. I looked around and I was baffled. I was like, I probably was working too hard. I need to try to get some sleep. I thought that something was wrong with me.
Right.
So I decided to just shake it off, brush my shoulders off, and I lay back down. And I'd say about 20 minutes later, as I'm about copacetic enough to start passing out again, the covers go from chest level up towards my chin all over again. And I threw them off. I said, nope, no, this ain't happening. And I walk out, and I'm staying in another hotel for the rest of it. Um, and the next morning, I tried to explain it to a guy that I worked with while I was over at a gas station trying to stock up on everything for work. And the cashier overheard me as I was doing like an instant replay in my head and trying to explain this.
Right.
And by the time we get up to the cash register, he's like, "Hey, man, I heard exactly what you said, man. You need to know somebody died in that hotel about a month
Mm.
ago." I'm like, "Really? Well, that explains it, man. There's my luck."
Yep, no doubt.
Ugh.
So we're going through the rest of the workday, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do whenever I get back to that hotel. My boss man, he's pretty cool, all of a sudden saying, "Hey, man, right after we get done with all this, we're going to wrap it up and go straight back home. I can grab up all your gear in the rooms, and we can head straight through." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you do that, buddy. You
I
do that
appreciate
for me.
that.
Go ahead, bud." So, this guy was like a lurch. He was 6'8", and he was a Marine. And I figured if something was going to disrupt this thing, it was going to be him.
Right.
So he takes off to the hotels. He's grabbing up everybody's gear, and he gets back, and he's got this old face. He's looking at me with this old face, like, "Whoa,
Mm.
whoa." I'm like, "What you got that old face for, man? What the hell's going on with you?" I was wondering because I didn't tell him anything that was happening.
Right.
And he was like, "I want you to be honest with me, man. Did you attack somebody last night?" I said, "No, no, man, of course not." He said, "Dude, just be real. All right, I got you back. Just let me know what's going on. Did you attack somebody last night?" I said, no, man. I ended up getting my grub on and passing out. What's going on with you?" He said, "Well, the lady that was in there cleaning the room, um, found a rock in the sock sitting underneath the mattress that you were sleeping on, and it's dried up and bloodied up, crusty." And he said, "I swiped it and threw it in the back of the truck with all your stuff and thought I was doing you a solid." I'm like, "Well, I appreciate that, but no, that's not mine." I said, "I need to see this." So we're
Wow.
going and taking a look. And yeah, sure enough, it was a dried up, bloody rock in the sock with like duct tape, electric tape. It had a whole
Damn.
bunch of railroad track rocks just thrown
Golly,
into it.
boy.
I
Those some
mean, it was,
serious rocks too. That ain't like some
Right.
pebbles.
yeah, yeah, it,
Yeah.
it did
Yeah.
some damage on somebody. And I ripped it up and checked it out. And I was like, sure enough. So I figured if I was getting attacked like that and nobody was there for me, nobody was willing to help, I needed to be there for others in that situation because I was so used to it already that I was able to build a team and get everything sorted to help people. And so that's where it really started. And my first cases was it was traumatic deaths. We had a nationally known murder that was in the area, and I was asked to help out with that from the property managers, and I got to remain anonymous for that just to help
Okay.
the company. But there was a pretty nasty, brutal murder there, and come to find out, there was witches involved. There was a lot of witchcraft going on, and where this boy had killed this little girl and it was really sad to have to even listen to her voice from beyond and explaining everything. But serial killers was one of the first things that I jumped on. There's like 7 of them in the state of South Carolina that are nationally known,
Really?
and I already knew one of them. And so, like Pee Wee Gaskins, Larry Jean Bell, Susan Smith case, stuff like that. We had
Mhm.
jumped in to go towards those places, and we found the hole where Pee Wee Gaskins had 6 bodies buried,
Uh,
and Pee Wee Gaskins was cursing us out from beyond.
wow.
We found the Masonic Lodge where Larry Jean Bell dropped off this little girl, and he was cursing us out. So um, I made it very known on the other side that I was coming for him pretty quick and
Right.
easy.
That's awesome. Um, let's back up just a little bit, man, because you started talking about your grandmother. It sounds to me like your grandmother and more likely yourself as well are kind of sensitive. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, very much. I've tried to shut it off as much as possible with
Mhm.
myself because I don't like to rely on stuff like that. And it's only kicked in places where it was really needed. And I've only really tried to have anything to do with it when I felt like it was just down to the last wire. I like to try to stay more towards the scientific side of things. But I think that having a psychic team where Spur is consulted, we have different divisions, and one of them is a psychic team. So I've done what I can to try to grab up those psychics and do a whole bunch of different exercises towards working those out. You know, just like you work out whenever you're wanting to get strong. I tend to do that with them as well. And what's in the box, and remote viewing, like
Right.
showing a picture of the front of this house and seeing, then not telling them exactly whose house it is, very famous house, and finding
Right.
out if I can get some readings from them and stuff like that. There's a lot of ways of going about doing that to where I can get some things exercised with myself just as much as them working those things out. And yeah, she was very strong and powerful with it. She was one out of 9 kids born in Blacksville, Georgia,
Mhm.
old farm girl, and she, like I said, she was a very Christian woman. She relied on the farm, and we had peaches, plums, all of our lettuce, tomatoes, everything was grown out the backyard, and she even believed in herbs and medicine. She had
Mhm.
every book there was for that, old school. She was very, very
Wow.
old.
Yeah, she sounds fascinating, man. Very
Yeah, it's kind of
fascinating.
like, living with Lorraine Warren. It's
No
exactly the
doubt.
same. It's exactly the same. She treated it just like that. Her cases were more local. She didn't wander out and try to, help people well-rounded, in the area as much as people that came to them. There was a neighbor of mine, like I said, I was 8 doors down. He died in a car accident. His name was Steve. And she had a neighbor that was next to her beside the railroad tracks, and and he he ended up passing away, shooting himself on the front porch of his place. And
Dang.
she had more of an old school approach towards everything with names, and I
Right.
had to sort things out with who she was talking to while they were coming in and having conversations. And I would sort it out. I would figure it out, like, yeah, she's talking to these neighbors that have been dead for a couple of years right now, and,
That's crazy.
sometimes there was some very, crazy things that I was finding out that they did. Come to
Mhm.
find out it was very true, so, yeah, I wanted to sort that because, like I said, I'm more of a scientific background. I wanted to
Mhm.
see the correlation, the relation between what would be said from the other side and see exactly how accurate that is towards
Exactly.
what's said in these conversations, and it was highly accurate. Almost every
Wow.
single time, the things that these boys were doing in their lives, they would explain to her, and I would talk to their parents, and it was very true. Very, very true.
She sounds like a fascinating lady, man. Absolutely fascinating.
She really was, man. She handled it, like an old gangster, like she would throw that cross down
Hey, most of those
anywhere.
old
She
timers
wasn't
are
worried at
gangster, you know
all.
what I'm saying?
She
Right.
wasn't worried at all, she was handling business wherever she needed to with all of that. She knew either at our church was about 250 years old, and she would go there and help out the people that were needing to be crossing over just as much.
Right, right. Wow. So, well, we'll move on from that. But yeah, she sounds definitely fascinating, man. I bet she taught you a lot when you was
She
growing up,
did.
man. And having
She
a
did.
having a grandmother like that, I bet was absolutely cool, man. Because not a lot of those old timers can you go and have conversations like that with people, or because
It's
you know a lot
true.
of that was taboo back in those days. Either that or you
Right.
just didn't talk about it. You know,
Yeah,
Right.
it
that's
was
awesome.
it was looked down on, and even
Hmm.
family ended up turning away from us, and she
Yeah,
just learned point blank who to talk to about it, who not to.
right.
And those conversations as I was getting older into my teen years, I knew better. And I had to treat it with respect. Otherwise, I would get a slap on the back of the head. Old school, man.
Yeah,
It's very old
yeah.
school.
Because back in those days, even Lord help us if you'd have had like a paranormal podcast back in those days, you're
Right.
immediately a devil worshiper or something like
Yeah,
that. You know?
Right.
that's
Yeah,
very true. The only one that she paid attention she liked Seekers of the Supernatural.
yeah.
You familiar with that
Sounds
one?
familiar. No, that sounds familiar. I don't know right
It,
offhand, but that does sound familiar.
it was Ed and Lorraine Warren's show whenever they had a
Okay.
PO box and they were trying to
Yeah,
get the word out.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize
That's why
that's
it
what that
sounds
was called.
familiar.
Okay, that's
That
cool.
and she liked uh Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, yeah.
She get down on to get down, making sure that everything there, because some of those cases was South Carolina.
Now, did she ever mention anything about remote viewing to you? Could she do that, or
Only once,
oh,
only
really?
once. But the remote viewing was a little bit later on. It got more accurate.
Hmm.
I have my training partner for running the psychic division ended up throwing me a house one day after getting everybody else on the team exercised with it. She got a whole bunch of these different private messages in about what that house was, just looking at the front door. And she said, "Well, all right, well, it's your turn." I said, "No, no, I'm good." She said, "Just go ahead, give it a shot." I'm like, "All right." So I closed my eyes, and it started out. You're looking at the front of this house at this picture until all of a sudden you're running through the front door, and then all of a sudden it took me through the steps and into these rooms upstairs, and I saw a gray figure, and then I would go downstairs and into this kitchen and out this back door and into this garden area. I look out and I'm seeing this lake a little bit farther out, and then all of a sudden it just shoots me right back out the front door. I open up, and after I explained all that on a speech to text with my phone towards her, I hit the send button, and she's like, "You know who you just talked about, right?" I was like, "No, I have no idea what house she was doing right there." She said, "That
Right.
was Loretta Lynn." I was like, "Really?"
Wow.
She said,
Wow.
"Yeah, everything you were talking about was accurate. There was Civil War going on out there, and there was people that was in the crawl space area from the front porch access. There was
Wow.
dungeon chained up and stuff, and there was
Really?
a guy that died in that lake." Um,
Wow.
so I was kind of bugging to know exactly how accurate I got on.
Yeah,
But I
that's
don't
great.
I don't really try to do it too much, man.
Yeah. Hey, remote viewing fascinates me. I interviewed a lady, her name's Lori Hines, and she actually helps with, man, I can't remember the group right offhand, but they actually work nationwide with the FBI, one of those three-letter agencies, and they help find, missing people and stuff
I
like that.
think that's very awesome to help
Yeah.
with,
Oh yeah.
those cases, man, because those people need the most help. Cold cases go without a lot of help, and that's one of the things that might just push it in the right direction. You never know.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I believe in it. I don't think our government would ever spend millions of dollars on a program. Well, maybe it's our government. Maybe they would. Let me take that back. But they studied it for a long time. Let's put it that way. And I'm pretty sure they probably still do it to this day. But
It's
remote
true.
viewing fascinates me. It fascinates
Yeah.
me. But um, getting back to this, man, for you guys, you're paranormal investigators, and it sounds to me like you try to go go at it with a scientific mind. And I got respect for that because, not everything's a ghost, not everything's a demon. A lot of people, they can see a picture with some dust flying through the air and they automatically think that's a spirit. You know, Not saying
Right.
it could be, but good chances are it's not. But when you guys are out doing your investigations, what's that one investigation you had where things got a little too crazy and you thought maybe this is a little bit too real for us? Do you guys have an experience like that?
I have several, buddy. Several. Um,
Yeah. I definitely got
Emilio?
I definitely got a fucking brown pants moment. It was before I even became an investigator.
Brown pants moment. I like that. I'm gonna steal that from you guys.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
man.
man. Use it to your advantage right there.
Right, right. But yeah, man. So how I even first even got involved in it before like I even met Stokes and everything like that, I was staying at my ex-girlfriend's house. She asked me to come over and house sit for her. And the story with her was that as I learned as I got to know her that her husband committed suicide in the backyard.
Man,
Like just straight blew himself away because she was gonna leave. There was a whole crazy drama there with her family, her kids. She had two kids of her own and one kid with the man, her husband, and they were all traumatized when I came
no
in there.
doubt,
And
no
I was
doubt.
just like wondering if I would really want to take up this responsibility and step in this. And I was okay with it at first. I guess I still was even afterwards. But she asked me to house sit for her one weekend. She was going up to PA to like some family reunion. And I was like, yeah, sure, I got you. I'll sit for you. And I brought my kids over and had them staying in the living room. They were sleeping on the couches. And I would say about 2:30, probably 3 in the morning, I was sitting in her room playing Skyrim on the Xbox, just
Yeah.
chilling.
I love Skyrim,
And
boy. Let's go.
oh yeah, man, I was in it. I was modding the crap out of it.
No doubt.
And all of a sudden, his closet door is like right there. And the doorknob started turning on its own for about 8 seconds. And I paused the game and stared at it and watched it turn several times. And I felt my heart hit my fucking stomach. And it was like, I've never felt that kind of fear before. Like, ain't no man ever put that kind of fear in me. That was just like the fear of like, what is my eyes? My mind is trying to register what I'm seeing
Right.
for the first time. And I'm looking at it and it's just turning hard and it would have stops abruptly. And I'm like, talking to myself, like, yo, I got to get the fuck up. I've got to check on my kids, make sure they're okay in the living room. I was like, you got to get up, get up. So I forced myself to get up. I go walk in there. The kids are all asleep. My daughter's the only one awake on her phone. And I'm like, hey, you ain't hearing anything in here, are you? Anything weird going on? And she was like, a little bit. What you mean, a little
A
bit?
little bit.
Yeah. She claims that there was like this little Christmas church looking miniature building on the table in the living room. It's like a Christmas ornament thing. She said it was making weird noises. And then she was swearing she was hearing footsteps kind of walking around behind the other couch where my son was laying. And she was like, I was just trying to ignore it though. Like, I don't know. I could just be tired. I'm like, yeah, baby, just tired. And so I go back in the room and I call my girlfriend up and I'm like, hey, um, and I just knew it was just instinctively. I was just like, I don't think your husband likes that I'm here. And she was just looks at me like with a face and expression of like she already knew.
Right.
And she was like, what happened? I was like, well, his doorknob started turning on its own, like really hard. I ain't touching it or nothing. And she was like, okay. She was like, anything else? I was like, no, no, that's it. She was like, all right, we'll talk when I get back. I'll be back tomorrow. It's like, all right, cool. So I went to bed, tried to anyway, and get the lights on and everything, even though what good did that do me because the lights were on when it happened. No F's given at all.
Right.
And so she coming back, and then that's when she proceeds to tell me that, yeah, she kind of felt like he was haunting the home because she saw his spirit there, like sitting in the bed when she walked in one day, and it freaked her out, scared her so bad. He was still wearing the same clothes and everything, and she backed out of the room, and she thought maybe it was just the trauma of everything. She didn't want to think too much of it, but then more stuff started happening. See, she had 3 kids, I had 3 kids, and when we brought them together in the house, it stirred the energy up. And I don't know if it just made it more, like, made it manifest even more because of it, and then when the kids found out about it, it got worse. Like, once they knew that this was happening, it became a thing. Like, I had to have a whole paranormal team, a friend of mine come over and do an investigation, and this guy starts pulling out all these gadgets. This is the first time I'm seeing the whole team really come in, and he pulls out all his gadgets, he's cutting them on, and they're all going off. Each one he pulls out, they're just going off. And he's like, dude, he's like, I don't know what the fuck y'all got going on in this house, but I've never seen this happen. And I've been to a lot of haunted places, and I've never just pulled my
Dang.
tools out and they're just going off immediately. Like, he pulled out his own little wonder box and set it up, and we was getting 100% contact with her husband. He was cussing her out because he was Indian from like India. He was like
Dang.
Gujarati. So he was cussing her out in that language, and she knew she could hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. We had to have him come over to the house twice to cleanse the house. So
Wow.
yeah, man, it got crazy. Like, sometimes I'd come out, check on the kids, and they all be sleeping in the living room, and I'd see like a shadow up on the ceiling, and when I walk out, it would just zoom off. And I was like, man, am I tripping? Am I seeing things? And I would go lay next to the kids, and I would try to lift my legs up because they have the TV on, listening to sleep music. And I'm trying to make the shadow that I seen on the ceiling. I'm thinking maybe it was one of them moving around or whatever,
Mhm.
but I could not make a shadow on the ceiling. And I was just like, that's crazy. So, like,
Oh,
once
damn.
they did the second cleansing in the house, she actually was able to move out and move into her new house like 2 weeks after that.
Mhm.
So we didn't have to deal with too much of that. And then that's how just me and her just got all into the paranormal. And
Yeah, that's
I
like a
met,
paranormal Brady bunch right there, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and
yeah, man.
that was the date night that got set up for the Meriden Inn right afterward.
Yeah.
Right.
After that, we
After
Wow.
ended up
those
at a
things.
Meriden Inn. I meet Stokes. And then after I meet Stokes, and I had a horrible night. My investigation went cool with Stokes. It wasn't until I got back to the bedroom with my girlfriend
Dates didn't
that
go so
things
well.
took a turn for the worst. It was,
Yeah,
and Stokes
dates
didn't have a
didn't
good
go
one
so well.
either.
No, no.
Dang.
I thought it was a
Me and
good
this
date
dude was
night,
having
but
women problems at
I
the
was the
same
only
time and
one
didn't
there.
even know it. And these
And that
boys
ain't
are
no
Yeah.
thick.
good, man. That'll end an investigation real quick right there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn. Not
Dude.
for us, though.
Yeah. Stokes ended
But
up
yeah,
somehow
man.
finding me.
So after I tracked him down, we ended up going to some really cool public investigation spots. And I'd say that Charleston City Jail was one that was really, really cool. Had some
Yeah, I bet.
experiences there. I was up in, uh, let's see, Lavinia Fisher's cell, and she gave me a little scratch across my chest,
Well, that's good
just
ever.
enough to let me know.
Yeah.
That was the first serial killer in South Carolina right there.
Yeah, man. And every
She had a
place that
little
we go
brothel
to,
where they were stealing.
I'm just
Um,
recording everything.
we
Everything.
Yeah, we
Right.
ended up knocking that one out pretty good. And I liked going towards the West Virginia State Penitentiary. We had some fun out there. Um,
Man, that was probably one of the most
Sugar Shack, we
creepiest,
watched somebody
scariest
get
haunted
scratched.
locations I've ever been in. It was great.
We
It
watched
was
somebody get
awesome.
scratched in the basement over there. They call it the
Yeah, dude
Sugar
bigger than
Shack.
me. Young dude.
I
It
was
might have
doing
been
a
my
lot of
fault.
tracking. I had some devices that I usually use on mine, and it's a laser grid put on top of a IR flashlight, and so I'm going through and I'm tracking, and it's showing me the cold spots, the hot spots, and the regular
Right.
spots. And I'm able to see on laser grid something's like trying to get away from me and running. And as I'm going towards everything, following through, even with using audio communication, it's telling me to the spot to go to, and I track that spot in there. And we had some other people that were in there before us as we were tracking going down into it, and they just happened to be there at the same time, and all of a sudden our equipment starts failing, and Emilio's like, Stokes, what does that mean? And I put my back over towards this block pier, and I heard the owl from a dude right down from me, Hensley Paranormal. His kid had gotten scratched up when he had given his rosary to his
Yeah, actually, there
girlfriend.
were several people that left that night. They left early, man. A lot
Yeah,
of
there
people
was
got
some
up out of
people getting
there.
channeled. I would say that I watched about 3 people that got channeled. One
I
of
even
them
Where
got
was this
lost.
at now? Where was this at again?
I even got lost. I
West
lost
Virginia State
Stokes.
Penitentiary.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
those penitentiaries, man.
I ended
yeah,
up
we
getting
watched somebody get picked up and thrown out there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right by cell block C and B, and right there where Red, there's a famous one in maximum security where you go down there, you leave a cigarette in the
Mhm.
corner, and you just trying to talk to the man, but he had
Yeah.
slaughtered his family, so it's not really that easy to
Wow.
talk to
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
that's
Well, what were you
doing
about to say, quick?
I was just gonna say that when you start talking about old jails and penitentiaries, I spent 5 years as a correction officer here
There you go.
locally, and so I've spent a lot of time in jail. Let's put it that way.
That's
Yeah.
Only difference is
a
I got to
horrible.
come home after 12 hours. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
some stuff in these because we got a jail around here. It holds about 300-400 inmates. But I've seen some stuff in there. There's just so much negative energy in those places, man.
Yeah.
Especially a
Yeah.
penitentiary, one of those old school penitentiaries like you guys are talking about, man. So
Yeah. I'd say one of the biggest brown pants moments was the Conjuring house for
no
me.
doubt.
I ended up going in there and tracking where the library is and that main living room area. We had this figure walk in front of the
I didn't get a
alarm
chance to go
system
with him,
on
by the
foot.
way.
I had
I
an
was so
alarm
mad,
system there
so upset.
where the door meets up in between the living room and the library. We
Mhm.
watched this phone get picked up, thrown 10 foot, and then all of a sudden my alarm on the doorknob goes off, and this figure is standing there, blue, lit up, and then dissipates. And I walk towards where they keep the Annabelle doll that they have in that living room area, and the whole house is shaking. Now this is a January
What?
when it's snowing outside, but the whole entire house was boom, 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 and enough to rumble the entire
Wow.
place. And
Wow.
and I've got it recorded, and I even had a Skype call recording doing a watchtower back home. We had some people watching out for us online too,
Mhm.
and that those things even tried to channel me for a minute there. You got to be very
Wow.
cautious walking into a place like that.
I
I watched
guarantee it.
one of the toy cars upstairs flying across the dresser drawers there, and I was trying to play cards with that little kid there, and the rocking chair started doing one of
Mm-mm.
those numbers.
Yeah, nope.
Wow.
That's a special place. That's a real special
I would
place.
have
You
went
don't
over
get
there
a
and
brown
kicked the
pant
chair over.
moment
None
from
of
that.
that.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm glad that they just ended up selling it to somebody that deserves it, you
Yeah.
know?
Who was
That
it that bought that Conjuring house? I can't remember. Was it?
well, it
Oh,
was the dude from
the
Ghost
actor, right?
Hunters.
It was Jay
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something like that. I believe
Yeah,
that's his name, right?
Yeah.
well, the
Yeah,
guy
well,
from
he'll
Ghost
treat it
Hunters
with respect, I believe. I
is
think
doing
he'll
that
respect it.
now. Him and Andrea Perrin and a huge community of people are doing what they can to try to make sure that the one got out.
Yeah.
And that was the important part because she even sicked a dog on one of my people while we were
Golly,
there.
buh.
She tried to get that little this little teeny tiny
That's crazy.
4 foot tall goth girl ended up having this dog get out
That's why I'm
from her
jealous.
side and started growling, and I had to get in between her and the dog. She thought that it was going to be friendly, but it wasn't. So I'm
See, I was
Wow.
supposed to
still
go with
trying to
him,
fend off this
and since I
freaking
didn't get
dog
to
from
go,
attacking.
he got to be by himself with like 4 bad golf girls. And I'm just like, why? I had to work. I couldn't go. I was like, man, I
Stupid
wish I could
jobs,
go.
man. They're always messing you up, ain't they,
I
man?
was like, man, it's supposed to be me.
That's awesome. Guys,
I do what I
break
can.
that. Yeah. Some guys got all the luck. That's the way I put it, man.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
That's Stokes.
So,
Hey, did you just have a Paracon that you hosted?
well, I host this show, and my other show I host. It's called Remember That, and me and all my friends get together every week. We talk about horror movies, and we were invited to a horror con, and we had a booth there and had a great time. If you guys seen that, we had a great time.
I checked it out,
Yeah.
and kudos to you. I bet you had a lot of fun. You were
Oh,
sitting right
dude.
next to a Ghostbusters team. This
Yeah.
is mine right here, South
There you
Carolina
go.
Ghostbusters. And
Yeah.
I saw the team that you had over there with you, man. They got a pretty cool ecto. And
Yeah.
I drive Ecto 803 representing for Columbia over here.
Sweet, sweet. It's small world then, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah,
man.
my other show, I got two passions on this earth, talking about ghosts with people and talking about horror movies with people.
There
So,
you go.
two
Yeah.
separate podcasts there. But yeah, man, we had a great time. I had two of our co-hosts. One of them, two of them drove in from Texas, man. They made a big trip from Texas just to get in there. And I got to meet some cool people, meet some of my idols. If you guys ever seen Return of the Living Dead, I got to meet Trash
Yeah.
and hang out with her.
Gosh,
And
yeah, very cool.
Love
yeah,
zombie movies, man.
that
That's
Trash
my
rules,
favorite.
man.
I've
And she's
hung
a
out
sweet lady.
with Dewey. You remember Dewey from Scary
Yeah,
Movie? That was awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's not my
That's
finger,
awesome.
that's my ass.
Don't bother me
hilarious,
when I'm
man.
cleaning my room.
Don't
Yeah.
get me started talking about movies. We'll be here all night, man.
Man,
I know,
I've hung
right?
out with some really cool people from the industry right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. One thing I've loved about these podcasts, I do this show and I do my other show with all my buddies, is the community of people, the paranormal community and like the horror movie community. There's just no better people on this earth, man. There's just great people, So love the friendships I've made. But yeah, man, walk me through an investigation. I know everybody's got their own methods and stuff like that. So when you show up to a place, what's the first thing you do? Walk me through how you guys get started and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I like to get base readings first and foremost because there's a lot of things, being able to hear from the clients and what's going on. They tell you where the hot spot and locations are. You can get some stuff sorted in between. I like getting those base readings to figure out where we're at, most especially at the beginning,
Yeah,
and
see,
go
man,
from there. Like try field
Stokes is a real
readings
investigator.
over there, and if they're talking about specific things with um like being channeled and stuff like that, I also bring in a couple of extra stuff for that, and I start looking around for mold poisoning, radon poisoning, things of that nature that might end up creating that type of artwork in people's brains.
Really? I didn't know that.
There's a couple of different things that acts as a mimic, along with even getting mental evaluations. Being an assessor for Exorcist, I have to do a 3-page report
Mhm.
just to turn into the church, and after going through that list, I know it front to back. I mean, there's so
I
many
guarantee
things
it.
that you really need to inspect on a home before you can even blame paranormal on first.
Right.
So that's what I go through more than anything else. That's my first parts of that.
You
And
ever get
me,
to sit in on any? I'm sorry, buddy. I was just
No,
asking if you ever got to sit in on any investigate or exorcisms or anything like that.
Yes, sir. I've been helping 5 years with that, and it's not fun.
No,
yeah,
I
It's
don't think there
he's
is
got a
none of
video of
disturbing.
him working on somebody.
It's
Wow.
very
Yeah, that was
disturbing. Like,
crazy.
I've been in cases where, where you're getting asked to go specifically, "Oh, this is just a ghost case," and then you get there and it goes a step beyond.
Right.
I've been on what's called the Trail of Tears. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with that? It's very
I live
nationally known.
I live right on it, I think.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
around it, yeah.
me too.
East
So,
Tennessee here.
um,
Yep, I definitely took a little stroll because Old State Road is a part of that here.
Mhm.
I went over there because my drummer had another band, and his older brother was the guitarist, and his wife was sitting back, like, as I'm sitting there watching their practice. She's like, "Oh, so you're a paranormal investigator?" I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "Do you realize you're in a hot spot right now?" I said, "Well, just tell me about it. What's going on?" she's like trying to explain some things that's happening where stuff's getting picked up, thrown, and stuff like that. I'm like, I should probably show up later whenever we're not doing a jamming out and stuff like that over here. And she was like,
Right.
yeah, cool. So I get it all set up with the team about a month in advance, and all of a sudden these bad things happen where the group can't go, and
Really?
knocked it out piece by piece by piece. Everybody that I talked to about it, just something
Mhm.
happened out the blue, to being able to stop. And I was like, well, I guess I'm a man of my word, so I'll go ahead and go, even though I'm the only one left here. So I'm
Right.
I'm getting over there that night, and after hearing the hotspot locations, it was pretty brutal, man. Like there was a triple murder there
Mm.
where a guy ended up getting into it, didn't want to pay a drug habit, and got shot, executed in the back of the head through the tub. There was a bullet wound going directly into their tub that they
Wow.
tried to patch up with some duct tape. And there was the lady of the house was his sister. She got executed at the back of the head, at the back door into
Wow.
towards the kitchen area. The bullet wound was going through the back glass,
Mhm.
and her kid got shot in the living room, and the bullet was going through the towards the other bedrooms behind it in the living room there.
Good
And so
lord.
the floors were soaked, really ionized in blood, and they
Good
didn't try to
lord.
change that out. They just changed tenants right afterward. And as they're
Exactly.
moving in, I'm there maybe a couple of months after they had moved in. They were celebrating their place, jamming out.
Yeah.
They didn't think too much about it except, hey, there's some crazy stuff that's starting to happen around here. So I used that to my advantage where I tracked the hotspot locations, and I was doing full audio and video communications, SLS, after the base readings with Trifield. And I was picking up some EMF readings. So I knew exactly where things were reading a little bit higher and on that list. And I have different classifications that I go through with different hauntings, either residual or picking up the pace towards ghost and everything else towards that list. And it started getting worse and worse. The more I found out, she had already had traumatic deaths surrounding her. There was family members that had done some horrible things. They were trying to stick around afterward and saying hey to her. And and so I was like, you know what? We're just going to do a cleansing right now. We can stop all this little hunky dory. I need to go ahead and seek forth an effort of doing an investigation. I don't need no
Yeah, he was
more of
like,
that.
we got enough evidence. Let's
Right.
go
We're
ahead and
going to
take
go
Right.
ahead
care
and
of
do a
this.
cleansing. So I start out with the first point to the second point of the place, and all of a sudden I'm hearing a whole bunch of cackles and laughs and things like that. Now I usually back myself up beforehand, and I had handed her holy water and got her to drink it, so
Wow.
I was doing okay for that. It locks them down. It
Right.
protects pretty good. And so I was going from the second point to the third point, having to cross over in towards the living room, and I'm seeing that she's already being channeled. She was locked into the couch. They had a beautiful Malamute that was albino, and
Wow.
that dog was so worried. And then all of a sudden, the dog goes from looking at her owner towards looking at the wall, had stuff coming out from the wall at it, and it was backing up and trying to stop from coming at us.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, this dog is giving me indications that I need to hurry up and get this shit done. So me and the husband decide that we're going around knocking out all this. We come back to it after we hit up all 4 points. And yeah, she's fully channeled. They're saying things in a different voice, and she had gone from regular face towards like a blue purplish puffy, like blowfish type face.
Wow.
And she was locked down, contorted on different limbs.
Golly bum.
um she said, we are 10, we are many. And I started getting to work, man. And it took me probably about 20 more minutes to get this thing out of her. Yeah, I've got it recorded, and it's not good. I'll go ahead and tell you now, it's not good to have that type of footage being put out in public, most especially,
100%.
or given towards your friends. You
Mhm.
you don't want that electronic transfer. Now
Right.
that I've worked with exorcists for the past 5 years, I know better. Where I had been going, hey, look at this situation.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you see anything about this? And hey, sending a couple of little clippets here, people getting sick, bad things happening to them. So I started deleting everything
Right.
from me passing it off, and I went straight towards the church for help, looking for somebody in that area more, and taking next steps. And that's where we really started our demonology department, was when we hired on an archbishop from Catholic organization that was already prepared exorcist to be able to handle things like this. He took a look at the footage, and he said the moment that he had hit play and everything was starting up with her on film, that something jumped out of the computer and punched him straight through the ribs and put him on the
Wow.
floor, and he had to end up going to the hospital. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, so no more passing this video around. Watch out for
Yeah.
electronic transfer.
Yeah, that's dark
Right.
energy, man. That's very dark energy.
Yeah.
It is. And me, I haven't learned my lesson at all.
No, he
I'm
hasn't.
more of the freaking like Stokes is a professional investigator. He finds out about the history, the who, the what, the when, the where. And I'm the guy who goes in with the camera and a stick and I'm like, do something. Do it. Do it. And I go in antagonizing, and I don't know why, but I get results.
Right.
I'm always capturing something. I've got
It
so much
usually only
evidence.
takes us about 20, 30 minutes whenever we're
Yeah,
starting
I go
something
in
up to
there
be able to
and
just
I've learned to be a lot more
trail.
friendlier. I used to antagonize a little too much, and I've learned my lesson on that. End up getting an attachment once. That
Yeah.
was crazy. And I mean, we got rid of it and everything. It wasn't nothing crazy or evil. But yeah, just kind of taught me you gotta watch what you say and do. But yeah, just always been good at that, man. Just capturing, like, I've caught full body apparitions on accident, not even looking at my camera. I'm looking this way and holding my camera this way, and then I go back and look at my footage, and I'm like, oh crap. And my girlfriend's got like full orbs flying around. Our first place that she took us to for paranormal investigation after me and Stokes met uh was, I would say, a level 10 place that no rookie paranormal investigator should ever go to. And that would be the freaking battlegrounds up in
Gettysburg.
Pennsylvania,
Oh,
Gettysburg.
I'm gonna tell
And
you the
we,
stories I've heard about that place.
bro,
Yeah.
I could tell you stories. I went there for 2 nights in a row. And the first night we went on a tour, and this paranormal investigator lady took, like, and I don't know, there was this family there. They had brought their daughter, and I was just thinking to myself, like, that's not a good idea. Why don't you bring kids out here? But we did an investigation with them, and they were showing us the property, took us to the woods, and showed us this old tree that's out there that this Native American woman got hung in. And there was a strange thing about the tree. When you take a picture of it, it was black, like you couldn't pick it up even with flashlights or nothing. Like,
Really?
we use a Polaroid camera, and you could see you if you stand in front of it, but the tree would be blackness, darkness. And if you look up in the tree, it almost looks like her face is in the tree. Like,
Wow.
yeah. And that was probably the first place, and I didn't catch it. My girlfriend did, actually. Of our first actual, like, I guess we'd call it Class A EVP.
Mhm.
And for the longest time, I thought there was only one EVP on there, because when I first heard it, it sounds like a woman comes right up to the phone and just whispers, like, you hear the ghost tour guide in the background talking. She's like, my things are going off. She was like, come over and talk to us. The phone in the video does a weird glitch. You see, like, something fly by, and then you hear a woman just say, judgment's here.
Wow.
Now, for the longest time, I thought that was it, until I uploaded the video on TikTok. And for some reason, TikTok amplified the volume on the recording. And at the very beginning, Now you hear a woman say, he choked me. And then the video goes on, and then you still hear the original. And I was just like,
Wow.
what? And this was like a year or two later
Wow.
with that
That's
same
insane.
evidence. I was just like, that's insane. And that's where I caught my attachment too, because I was retarded and I was using a ghost box. And I heard this little girl come through. It was like, Daddy. And my dumbass was like, I'll be your daddy, little girl. Come on, follow me.
Yeah.
Worst mistake ever.
Yeah.
I had a little girl attachment follow me around, and then it started messing with my girlfriend's daughter and like scaring her, freaking her out. Like literally had her come out the room crying, bawling in tears. I thought at first she was just kind of BSing. I was like, yeah, she's just saying she's seeing stuff. She's just mad we didn't take her. But then when she came out of that room crying like that, like I was just like, ooh. So I went in the room and I'm gonna find out. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I started taking pictures in all corners of the room, all four corners. I took a picture. And in one of the corners, you see the silhouette of a little girl with like the old 1800s cap on her head, just standing, with a bonnet on, standing in corner, just staring. Like you can barely make it out, but you can see the details of the eyes, the face, the bonnet. Like it was crazy. Yeah. And that was we actually got charged to get that removed. It worked, but dude charged us like $80 to do it.
Hey, man, you got to make money somehow. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
man.
I mean, he did it because we got the kids out of the house, and I was like, if he says it doesn't work, we just get lose $80, right? She's like, whatever. I'm like, all right, you're the one with the money,
right?
And she paid him. We got the kids out of the house. When we brought the kids back, her daughter never spoke of it again.
Wow.
And then we asked her a few days later, like, hey, you seen that little girl spirit around lately? She was like, no. She's like, I haven't seen her at all. I was like, I just looked at her like, $80 well spent.
Right. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, guys, you guys have got some fascinating stories, and I feel like we could sit here and talk for another hour. But unfortunately, I've got another interview scheduled and I'm running out of time. But I'd love to have you guys back on for a part 2 if you'd be willing to come back on in another week or so for a
no
part
problem.
2.
I still haven't been able to hear your brown pants moment.
Hey,
I know, right?
Well, I'm not doing another interview. I'm actually going on another show after this called Ghost Tracks, and I'm going to tell about my brown pants moment. So
okay, send a link.
I'll send you guys a link to that. But before we cut out of here, guys, tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff. If anybody wants to contact you or anything like that.
All right. Yeah. Facebook, we ended up creating a public page for it. Stokes Paranormal Investigations, Spur. We also have the YouTube for Spur as a backup. And we've got more for the Ghost Division files.
Where you can see all of our crazy antics and our
videos,
investigations.
More of the
It's like
public investigations there.
Yeah, those are like 10, 11 episodes.
Nice.
And I did my best with editing them and making them try to look TV worthy. So
season 2 and 3 coming pretty soon.
Yeah, dude, I got so much footage of my PC right now that I haven't even put out there yet. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm excited to go see that myself. I didn't know you guys had that going on. Make sure and send me the links to all those, all your pages and stuff like that, so I can put them in the notes of this when this will come out probably next Sunday.
Okay.
So send me all that stuff, and I'll make sure and get it put in the description of this show, man.
Okay.
Absolutely, buddy.
Stokes and Emilio, I really appreciate you guys coming on and spending a little bit of time with me today. And let's schedule a part 2, man, here in a couple of weeks if you guys want.
All right. Sounds good, man. Definitely. Just hit me up.
You guys hang around after I press stop here, and then we'll chat for a second, and then we'll get off here. But until then, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We're going to get a part 2 schedule with these guys because I got a feeling they got a lot more to tell us, man. But and until we get that done, we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
The unknown awakens, hear the echoes grow loud. We're diving deep, join the curious crowd. In the paranormal war room, we take flight, bringing the spooky vibes, shadows and light. With every beat, the legends we explore, unleashing the spirits. We're ready for more. cryptids lurking near, in the darkness they rise. Paranormal tales that will twist your mind. Tune into the mystery, leave the norm behind. In the war room we fight with the strange insight, unveiling truths in the paranormal war room. We take flight, bringing the spooky vibes, shadows and light. With every beat the legends we explore, unleashing the spirits, we're ready for more. So hit that subscribe, don't be left in the dark. Join us in the war, let's make our mark.